mention the minor exorcism. We need clarity on this because there's a lot of abuses. In 1890, Pope Leo XIII wrote a very specific exorcism against Freemasonry. He ordered that it be said at every Mass in the world, all the time. And so it was for quite a long time. It became a standard prayer during the Mass, all over the world. There is a story that he had a vision that led to this, which if you read, there is a very well-researched book by Kevin Simmons, S-Y-M-O-N-D-S, Kevin Simmons. I believe it's the St. Michael Prayer, and then there's like a subtitle to it. But you'll see with Kevin Simmons, and you'll see the cover with the St. Michael on the cover of the book. Cliff's Notes version, we don't know for sure that he had a vision, because in terms of actually documenting and somebody definitively writing it down, or somebody that was there and saw it and could testify to it, we're not sure he actually had a vision. We know something odd happened, but it's not clear that it was a vision. The content of the vision is not definitive. We're not sure that it was, Jesus and the devil talking, and the devil said, if I had 100 years and the power, I could destroy your church. And Jesus said, fine, you're granted the power in the 100 years, try it. We don't know for sure that that ever happened. But we do know that he wrote a minor exorcism against Freemasonry. Over the decades, as the threat of Freemasonry, I suppose, decreased, they started simplifying that prayer, and it became less focused on Freemasonry and more focused on curbing the activity of Satan in the world. This prayer, all along, was only to be said by priests. The St. Michael prayer that you know is the very watered-down, simplified version of that Leo XIII exorcism against Freemasonry. That's where that prayer comes from. So this, what is called minor exorcism, has a rubric. Who knows what a rubric is? Who's a canon law geek? How many people? I saw one hand. How many people know what a rubric is? Come on, a few of you. Okay. So rubric is usually the little red writing in the book that gives some instructions on who can do this particular prayer or rite, how it's done, when it's done. The rubric for this says, this prayer can be said by a bishop or a priest with permission from their bishop. The rubric has never been abrogated, which is a fancy word for removed. But on the internet, many times, the minor exorcism of Leo XIII is reproduced without the rubric. And in fact, people are directly encouraged, lay people are encouraged by various phone apps and websites to say the Leo XIII prayer in front of abortion clinics and various other places. This is an error. And we actually had a dubia, which is a formal request to the Vatican to give a definitive answer to a question, which is a big kind of process and it's involved. So there's been a few dubias requested on this, whether this rubric was ever abrogated. I have a copy of it at my office in Pittsburgh. If anybody's an actual official in the church, I'll be happy to send the copy to you. I didn't get the dubia. Somebody else did. It was, I believe, I think it was 2017, I think. I'd have to double check it. It confirmed the rubric's never been removed. So when you see people misusing that prayer, understand that the law of the church is only a priest, when their bishop gives them permission, can do that prayer. So now that your conscience has been informed, you should not overstep your bounds and be using the minor exorcism or the Leo XIII exorcism. Okay. So that's what the minor exorcism is. By the way, what we tend to use it for in the ministry when the priests properly are using it is two things. House cases, subset of that is objects, so say a cursed object, or a house that has a demonic infestation. We use it there. And then we use it as a diagnostic tool for possession. Because you can't use the solemn rite of exorcism on a possessed person until the bishop gives you permission to. And to reach moral certainty that the person's possessed, to convince the bishop that we should use the solemn rite, you need to document a bunch of signs of possession. Well, guess what? Mr. Growley's no dummy. He doesn't want to manifest and show you the signs of possession, because then you'll go get the permission from the bishop, and then you'll hit him with the big sledgehammer of the solemn exorcism. So he's going to hide. So how do you get him to show himself so that you can prove he's there? Well, the minor exorcism doesn't require that same level of certainty. You can use it more freely if you're a priest with permission from your bishop. So it's a good thing to get the demon riled up enough to show itself so that we can then get the data we need to prove there's possession. Footnote, the church is very cautious about doing exorcisms on people because she has learned through centuries of experience that most people are either mentally ill, have a medical problem, or something along those lines, and to do an exorcism causes great harm because you're now convincing the person that they're in fact possessed when they may have an operable medical condition that if they now think they're possessed, they may stop the treatment for or never seek treatment for it, and then it can progress untreated. So the church is very cautious. There's outside medical evaluation or psychiatric evaluation of the person, in addition to the church has to find the signs of possession. Okay.